Okay, now that we've got our bearings, the first action we want to understand is how to add a client into the system. And so to begin with, we can add our current clients into the system. We can also create a flow for new clients to come into the system. Now, the easiest way is to add them yourself, but then they can also come in through your public booking link later. And we're going to talk about all of that. But we just want to understand how the client experience works. So here's what your client detail looks like, your screen of clients. So here you just have a rolling list of your clients. It has how they're billed. You can filter however you want if you need to search for them, and their, what appointment they're taking if they are taking one right now. Adding your client into the system is as simple as adding a name, an email, a phone number, and make sure that time zone's correct, because we want to make sure our calendars sync up and our scheduling syncs up. And we're in a global universe right now, so you're probably teaching people in different time zones. So if you're adding a client into the system, which you should, add a client in, make sure the time zone's correct, and just get them going like that. Once you've added a client into the system, this is their client detail when you click on their name. And you can see you can add their phone, their birthday. If they have a default duration, you can add that. We're going to talk about billing later because that's important. But you'll notice down here there's a notes section. If there's any other information you want to keep about that family, about that person, you're welcome to do that. And that can be scrolling and go as long as you want to, kind of like an Evernote type situation. Family members. We're going to talk a lot about adding family members into this and whether we do or we don't. And I'm going to say it a bunch of times. In general, you don't need to use family members. It's a simpler path to just have the person that's paying you. In this case, Edgar Taliaferro. This person is paying me, even if I'm teaching Edgar's child. That would be actually my dad, because Edgar Taliaferro is my grandfather. Interesting. Anyway, it would be easier to just have the business done with Edgar, and then we can talk about adding in the family members in just a second. Anytime you see an orange screen like this, double pay attention. So here you are getting ready to sign yourself up and test out the system. You're probably going to want to put in an email and see what it's like to be a client. Know that today I'm going to show you everything your clients see for everything. So you're welcome to do a test client though if you want to. Just don't use the email you signed up for Fons with. The system is smart. It'll know what you're doing and it confuses it. So a couple things you can do. One is just use a different email other than the one you signed up for Fons to create your test client. The other one is this cool little Google trick, which is if you use your Google email or your Gmail and then push plus so you have your name plus whatever you want. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4 test at Gmail. It'll create an unrecognizable account and you can test as is. Go ahead and open the client experience in an incognito window so you can see those two worlds back and forth. Okay, you've got your client added into the system, and we're going to talk about billing later because that's a really big piece to this. But the underlying thing about Fons is that once we securely add in our client's payment information, it's set. They don't have to do it again moving forward. This is huge. This is what eliminates all the admin. There are multiple paths for getting your client's payment information into the system. One of them is you enter it yourself. You just go into their client detail, you click add credit card, and you add their credit card information. You can do this when you're in a meeting with them or on the phone. Some people love to do that. I do it all the time. But then once they're in, they're good to go moving forward. The other one is we can request payment information that we'll talk about in just a second. You're just getting started. You want to just send them a note that you're going to be using Fons to do all your billing and scheduling. It'll ask them to enter their payment information. The third, and this is the most prevalent actually, is whenever you send your client something that involves money, like for instance, saying you're doing a one-time payment request or asking them to sign up for a package of appointments or to pay for a paid appointment. If they don't have a payment method on file, it will ask them to enter their credit card. It will store it securely, and it's great. And then they don't have to do it again. This is kind of a real critical piece to this. And I'll just quickly run through what a client invitation looks like. As you're walking through this, you click request payment information. It's just going to send your client an email with whatever you've set up as far as billing, if you have. I just kind of threw this out there with what your cancellation policy is for your organization, how Fons is going to work. It'll have your logo up top, and just give them a quick link to enter payment information. This is great for if you're moving your business over to Fons. You've already told your clients that you're making this change and you just want to get them all set up and good to go. You can send this out to get them in the system to give them an understanding for how it works. Okay, this is what your client sees. This is a recurring theme. You're going to see it again and again. They have a very simple, very easy way